guys, we are down to the pattern drafting part of our corsets, and these are the materials you need for your corset, for making your pattern, your corset pattern. You need your paper, scissors, obviously. You need your marker. You need your, okay, you don't really need it, necessarily need a pen. You need your paper tape. Very important. Your paper tape is very important. You need your dressmaker pins and your measuring tape here. And the most important instrument you'll be using, you'll be needing your corset ruler. This is what you'll be using to do the curve, and also your ruler, your hip curve, and your armhole curve. So this is a multifunctional ruler. It has a hip curve, it has a ruler, and it has the armhole curve, and this is what you'll be using to mark out the curve of your corset. So it's very important to get this, and if you cannot get this, please, it's very important for you to get this, because this is pattern drafting, so everything has to be ironed. It requires a lot of calculation, a lot of drawings and technicalities, especially for corsets. So you need to get these things. It's very important. If you cannot get this, you can always get this. It's always serve the purpose. So now let's go. So first is first, I will mark out my armhole measurements. My armhole is 15 inches. 15 inches divided by 2. My round armhole is 15 inches. 15 inches divided by 2 is 7.5. So I'll mark out the 7.5. I'll mark out the 7.5. I'll mark it out again to make sure I'm drawing a straight line. So I'll draw out a straight line. Then the next thing I'm going to be marking out is my bust line. My bust line is 8.5. So I'll mark my 8.5. I'll mark my 8.5 as well. So let me label this chest line. That's the bust line. So I'll mark my bust line. So I'll label it bust line. I'll label it bust line. So the next measurement, so this is our vertical measurement. Mind you, this is the vertical measurement. It's compulsory for you to mark out your vertical measurement first before your horizontal measurement. So the next vertical measurement is the under bust. My under bust is 11.5. My under bust is 11.5. So I'm going to mark out the 11.5. I'll come here as well, and I'll mark out another 11.5. Then I'll draw a straight line. This is my under bust. Then I'll come to my waistline. My waistline is 3 inches. There is a difference between your waistline and your half length. Your half length is 1 inch above your navel, while your waistline is 2.5 or 3 inches from your under bust. So I'm going to be using my waistline. My waistline is 3 inches plus my under bust. So I'll mark out my waistline. I'll mark out 3 inches from here. Then I'll draw a straight line. I'll draw a straight horizontal line. So waistline. And the hip line, my hip line is 8 inches from my waistline. I will mark it as well. I'll mark the 8 inches as well. Mark the 8 inches as well. Your hip line is usually your length of your blouse. So I'm going to mark it out as well. I'm going to mark it out as well. So that's that about that. So the next thing I'm going to measure is my shoulder. My shoulder is 15 inches. 15 inches divided by 2 is 7.5. I'll mark my 7.5. Then I'm going to come down. This 7.5 I marked here, I'm going to mark it on the chest line as well. The 7.5 I marked here, I'll mark it down at the chest line as well. Then I'll draw a straight line connecting it. I did it that way to make sure I'm going to be drawing a straight line. Then I will come down. Well, it's not really needed because we are not doing a bodice, we are just doing a corset, so it still doesn't matter. But let me just do it. This is my shoulder slant and this is my armhole. I believe everybody knows how to do that already. So now we are going to go to we are going to try and draw out our darts. So the distance between my two nipple, which is also known as nipple to nipple breast span, is 7.5. 7.5 divided by 2 is 3.75. I'm not going to be adding any allowance, so I'll just mark my 3.75 on the under bust, on the bust line. I'll mark it on the bust line, on the under bust line, on the waistline, and on the hip line. So this is our dart leg. So I will draw a straight line connecting these points. I'll draw a straight line connecting these points. So this is our dart leg for the corset. So now you are going to measure the distance between the bust line and the under bust line. The bust line, this is the bust line. Remember, this is the chest line. This is the bust line, the under bust line. So I'll measure the difference between the bust line and the under bust line. So the difference here is 3. It's usually 3 inches. For some people it is 3.5. For some people it is 4, but mine is 3 inches. So this 3 inches, I'm going to be using it to draw a circle round the. I'm going to draw a circle round the bodies. So from the bust line like this, that 3 inches I measured from my bust line to the other bust, I'm going to be measuring it round like this. If you have a compass, it's good for you to use a compass. So I'm going to measure it round. So make sure it doesn't shift while you are measuring it. So measure the 3 inches round. So I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. Hope you guys can see. So make sure it doesn't shift from this side as you are measuring. So this round circle I've drawn here is my bust. This is my round bust. This is my bust, the whole circumference. Our bust is not really round, but I'll say it's round. This is the whole circumference of my bust. But the mistake some people make is that they make this the corset cup. This shouldn't be the corset cup. It is incorrect because our bust is not totally round. So if you are talking of a mother that has given birth and her boobs are circular, you say that kind of breast is round. No, you won't obviously say that. So our breast is not totally round, but for me that I have a really small breast, I can actually use this kind of cup and it will stay perfectly. But for some people that their breast is not so round, they cannot use this as a corset cup. We have to do some modifications to be able to contain and to be able to cup the whole, so that the corset cup would cup the whole breast. So this is not your corset cup. You shouldn't use this as a corset. Some people make that mistake, but you shouldn't use this as a corset cup. So the next thing, you are going to come to the chest line. Remember, these are chest line. I will come in by 0.75. You can do 1 inch, you can do 2. So the purpose of this measuring is, this is the distance between our two breasts. This is 0.75 I'm measuring here is the distance between our two breasts. Some people their own is 1 inch, some people their own is 1.5, some people their own is 2. I once used 1 inches, but it was too small for me, but now I'm using 1.5 and it was perfect for me. So you just have to know which suits which. You cannot obviously measure the distance between your breasts, but it's advisable to use 0.75 or 1 inches or even 0.5, but 1.5 is perfect for me. So that 1.5 is what I divided into 2, and I measured my 0.75 inches here. So this is the distance between my two breasts. Remember that this is not unfold, and we are doing we are doing the corset for one side of the breasts So hope you guys can see this clearly. Hope you guys can hear. So that's that about that. So that is 0.75. So then I'm going to come to the other side of the chest line. So remember, this is our circle. So I'm going to come to the other side of the chest line, and I'm going to mark 1 inch outward like this. I'm going to mark 1 inch. This is sort of an allowance. So this is why I was saying that you cannot use this part as your corset cup, because our corset, our breast is not round. It's not totally round. So this is 0.75 I measured there. I'm going to take this curve. this corset curve like this. Then I'm going to be marking it towards the under bust like this. I'm going to be making a line, a round curve towards the under bust like this. So this is that's that about that. Then this 1 inch I measured out here as well, I'm going to come here as well. I'm going to come to this side as well. Then I would draw another curve as well. So this is our corset cup. This part here is our corset cup. So now I want to mark our dart leg. So on the under bust, I'm going to measure 1 inch on both sides. I'll measure 1 inch on both sides. On the waistline, I'll measure 1 inch on both sides again. I'll measure 1 inch on both sides on the waistline, and on the hip line, I will come up by 2 inches. I'm going to come up by 2 inches like this. So measure 1 inch on both sides on the of the dart leg of the under bust. Do the same thing for the waistline, and for the hip line, you come up by 2 inches. Then you take your ruler, draw a straight line like this, connecting the under bust to the waistline, as you can see. Then you draw a slant line towards the 2 inches you measured from the hip line, like this. So this is your dart leg. This is the dart leg for the corset. So now for the bust line, if the person's breast is really big, you have to create a fuller cup, and the only way you can create a fuller cup is to come down by 1 inch and come up by 1 inch. So if the person is like, let's say, bust 45 or bust 50, so you have to create a fuller cup to make sure it accommodates the breast. So you have to come down from the bust line by 1 inch and also go up by 1 inch. But I'm making it for myself and my breast is not so big, so I'm not going to come down by ½ inch or not even come down at all. But it's just safe to come down by ½ inch to remove any sharp joints. So this is what I'm going to do. And sorry, lest I forget, where this curve ends like this, where these curves are like this is your upper chest line. So to be on the safer side, just draw a straight line. So this part where this point ends like this is your upper chest line. So draw your straight. So this is where your breast is starting from. This is where your breast, this is the beginning of your breast. This is where it is starting from. So that's that about that. So after that, I'll come down by ½ inch. So I'm going to measure my breast span on my upper chest line as well. Upper chest line, 3.75. I'm going to measure it. Then I'm going to connect as well. I'm going to connect to the other dart leg. So I'll go up by ½ inch as well, just like I did for the bust line. So I hope you guys can understand what I'm saying. So go up by ½ inch, come down by ½ inch, extend your dart leg to the upper chest line. So after that, I'm going to take my curved ruler, this part of the curved ruler, and I'm going to draw a curve from this point towards the under bust line. Remember, these are under bust line, these are bust line. So I'm going to connect it to the under bust line. I will come to the other side as well, and I'll connect to the under bust line as well. So that's that about that. Sorry, I almost fell. So that's that about that. Then this point here, so this dart that is going towards the upper chest line, you will measure 1 inch on both sides of the dart as well, the same way you did for the under bust and the waistline. You measure 1 inch on both sides. Then you connect to this ½ inch point it came up by. You are going to connect again. So that's that about that for the dart leg. So now we are going to go to how we want our cup to look like, the shape we want to give our cup. So if you think this will be too low for you, you can always go up by ½ or 1 inch. Or if you think this one is too high for you, you can always come down by ½ inch. So on the chest line, remember this is where we measure the distance between our busts. If you think the chest line starting on the chest line would be too much for you, you can go up by ½ inch. You can go up by ½ inch and measure your 0.75 as well. So you can go up by ½ inch and measure. So this is where the curve is going to be from. So I want the upper chest line to end just here, because yeah, this is 5.5, so it is very okay for me. So you can also measure where you want your corset to start from on your body before you start drafting. So you are just going to measure it on the pattern, and that is where your cup or your corset cup will be starting from. So you can also measure it on your body first before you do it on pattern. So now I'm going to be connecting this to this. I'm going to be connecting it to this like this. So this half inch I came by, distance between the two busts, I'm going to be connecting it to this dart leg like this. I'm going to be connecting to this dart leg like this. So I'm going to shape it out. So for this part, for the chest line, you know this is a tube. A corset is usually a tube, so it will not stop at your chest line directly. You have to come down by half an inch from your chest line. You have to come down by half an inch from your chest line like this. Then sorry, you're going to connect, so please ignore this line. I shouldn't have used this curve. So that's why I said it's very important to get this curve. So you connect the other dart leg to the half inch like this. You're going to connect it to the half inch like this. Then draw a straight line. You're going to draw a straight line. For that half inch that half inch you came down from the chest line, you draw a straight line. So this is now your new chest line. This is now your new chest line. So this is how it's going to be. So can you guys see? Just shape it out. I don't want to use this, but let me use it just to get the perfect curve. So this is your new chest line. So now I'm going to be measuring my horizontal measurements. The first horizontal measurement is my round bust. My round bust is 33 divided by 2 is 8.25. I'm going to be measuring it on the new chest line like this. I'm going to measure the new chest line. So 8.25. This is 8.25. Then you are going to measure what you have here. What I have here is 0.5. This space I have, because you are going to be cutting off this dart leg, so you have to measure what you have here and return it to the measurement. So what I have here is 0.5. So I'll mark my 0.5. I'll mark my 0.5. So I'll mark my 0.5 like this. So you don't really need to do all that on the under bust. Just go straight to the waistline. My waistline is 26 inches. 26 inches divided by 4 is 6.5. I'll mark my 6.5. Then plus these 2 inches that I measured there, these 2 inches there, I'm going to return it back here as well, like I did for the bust. I'm going to return it here. That's the 2 inches. Then I will go to the hip line. My hip is 36. 36 divided by 4 is 9. So I'll mark the 9 inches. So there is no space here, so this will be like that. So I'm just going to connect. I'm going to be connecting this side, the chest line to the waistline, and the waistline to the hip line like this. So this is our bodies. So you're going to be adding your seam allowance for holding it off. Your corset does not really need so much allowance at all. What you need is 1 inches. Max is 1.5 inches. I don't even advise 2, because you have to keep adjusting before you can get the perfect fit. But 1.5 inches is very okay. I'm going to be using 1 inch, so I will measure my 1 inch seam allowance. I'll measure it on the under bust as well. I'll measure it on the waistline, and I'll measure it on the hip line. So I'm going to be connecting these points. So this is my seam allowance. So that's that. I think that is done. Yes, that is done. So now this is an half scale. This is a full scale corset, but it's like this is a long corset, not an half scale, which will be ending at the waistline. So from the side like this, I'm going to come up by 1.5 inch and mark on the hip line. It has to be on the hip line. So from the side seam like this, you have to come up by 1.5 inch. Then you are going to measure 5 inch. You want to create kind of a curve around this area to make sure it gives the corset a really nice style. So I'm going to come out by 5 inches like this. Then I will use my curved ruler to curve this out like this. So that's what we are trying to achieve. So now we are done for the front body. So now we are going to go to the back. So guys, we are now in our back bodies. So this is the center back of the back body. This is the center back. This is our dart, our usual waist dart. This is our shoulder measurements, our armhole. So for the back bodies, you don't need your under bust and the bust line. You only need your chest line plus that ½ inches you came down by for allowance. You know, we came down from ½ inch in the front bodies. We came down by ½ inch from the chest line 95. So I just extended that ½ inch towards the back bodies. So the back bodies is very quite simple. You measure your breast span, the 3.75 you measured at the front. You measure ½ inch on both sides of the waistline. Then you come up by 2 inches from the hip line and you connect the lines. On the chest line, you come down by 1 inch. So these are normal basic back bodies. So on the chest line, from the dart leg, you're going to come in by ½ inch on both sides. The same way you did for the waistline, you come in by ½ inch on both sides like this. Then you connect to your waistline like this. You are going to connect to your waistline. You connect to your waistline like this. So for your back bodies, the chest line of the back bodies is usually different from the front. The chest line of the back bodies for a corset bodies is usually shorter. It usually comes shorter than the front body, usually shorter than the front bodies. So on the chest line, remember this is our chest line for the back body. So you come down by 1½ inch. You can always decide to leave it at this corner here. You can always decide to make it stop here, but to give it more design and a very nice look, it's just better you come down by 1½ inch. I'm really sorry about that. It's better you come down by 1½ inch. So on the center back of the back, but remember this is center back, this is where the zipper allowance is going to be. You come down by 1½ inch like this. You come down by 1½ inch. So after you come down by 1½ inch, you go towards the chest line like this. This is the chest line of the back bodies. So you come out by 1 inch. This is your seam allowance. This is what we are going to be using our seam allowance. The reason why I'm doing this is to make sure it is not too curvy. That's why I'm doing it. So yeah, so from the center back, you come down by 1½ inch, and from the other side, from the side back, you come out by 1 or 1½ inch. The measurements you are going to be using for your seam allowance, you come out like that. Then you connect this 1½ inch to this 1 inch here. So you connect. So you're going to connect like this. So this will be the neckline of your back. So that's basically it. Then the next thing you will do, very simple, measure your round bust measurement. 33 divided by 2, 8.25. You measure the 8.25. I already measured 1 inch seam allowance here, so that's that. Then your waistline, you measure your round waist measurement. 6 divided by 4, 6.5. Then you measure this 1 inch here. You're going to be cutting it away. You're going to be cutting that away. So you're going to measure it back here. Then you do the same for the chest line, because you know we've already extended the dart, we've already increased the dart. You are going to be cutting away here. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch again. So it will be 8.25, which is the quarter of my measurement. 1 inch dart you are going to be cutting away from here, and 1 inch for seam allowance. Then for the waistline, 6.5, you are going to be cutting this dart away. I've measured this, plus 1 inch seam allowance as well. And for the hip line, 9 inches plus 1 inch allowance alone. Then you are going to connect. You connect the chest line to the waistline, and you connect the waistline to the hip line like this. So this is seam allowance of the back bodies. This is the neckline of the back bodies. This is the dart. So now we want to create our zipper allowance. So you can either use 1 inch or 1.5 inch for your zipper allowance. So I'm going to be marking my zipper allowance from the center back, depending on how many inches I want to use for my zipper allowance. Depending on how many inches I want to use for my zipper allowance. So I'm going to mark 1.5 inch. I'll go to the waistline. I'll mark another 1.5 inch. I'll go to the chest line. I'll mark another 1.5 inch. Then I'm going to connect. So this is my zipper allowance I use. So on the zipper allowance, I'm going to measure 1/2 inch. I'm going to come in by 1/2 inch like this. On the zipper, we want to create our back vent. So I have come in by 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to be connecting the 1/2 inch with a slant line to the hip line like this. So this is how to create your back vent. Come out by 1/2 inch from the waistline. On the waistline, you come in by 1/2 inch. Then you connect the points to the hip line, and you're going to connect the points back to the chest line again. So this will be your back vent. So because the reason why we are putting this back vent is because our back is not straight. It is either bent or curved. There's a line in our back that is going inside. So the purpose of this back vent is to make sure our zip is not bulging at the back. So that's the purpose of the back vent. So that's what about the zipper of the about the back. So now we are going to be cutting. So I'm going to be extending this 1.5 inch to the zipper allowance as well. Zipper allowance as well. I'm going to be extending it to the zipper allowance as well. So now I will take my zipper allowance, my scissors, then I'm going to cut. And so before that, I'm going to do my curve. So at the side seam, the same way I did for the front, at the side seam here, I'm going to come upward by 1.5 inch. I'll come upward by 1.5 inch. I will go in by 5 inch. Then I will use my curve to create my armhole curve to create a curve. The side seam. So you have to make sure this part is the same. The front and the back side seam are the same, so it doesn't look awkward or look too funny when you. So I'm going to be cutting my zipper allowance first. I'll cut out the back vent. Then I'll cut the back neckline. Then I'll come here as well. I'm going to cut the style line here. Then I'll cut my seam allowance. So this is for the back. Then I'm going to be cutting out my dart as well. So watch me while I do this. So you have to pay attention. So you are going to cut like this. So this is all for the back body. So these are back body. So this is side. This is the center back. So label is center back. This is the side back. Label is side back. So that's that for our back bodies. So now we're going to go to our front bodies. So we are going to go to our front bodies. So let me cut out the bodies first. So I'm going to be cutting out. So remember, this is our seam allowance here. So I'm going to be cutting it out like this. Then let me cut out. So I'm going to cut out. I hope you can see it. So I'm going to cut out the curve too. So I'm going to cut out the curve too. Then I'll go to the darts. So watch me. We are going to cut it out like this. So let me stop here. Then I'll come to this side and I'll cut it out like this as well. So let me stop here. So let me cut this part so as to not confuse you. I'm going to cut this part away. So we are not going to be needing this. I'll throw it away. Then Now we are now to the cup. So for the cup, I'm going to cut out the cup out first so you guys don't get confused about it. So let me cut out the cup. So this is our cup. So this is the yoke. If you want to do a yoke on your corset, so you're going to be using this part. You're just going to cut this part away. So remember, this is the distance between the two breasts. So I'm just going to cut it out. So this is our center front. This is our center front. Then I'm going to be cutting the rest of the side piece like this. So this is our side front. So I'm going to mark side front like this. Then what else do I need to do? So our cup, cutting our cup is very simple. So you're going to cut out these parts. Going to cut out this part like this. Yeah. So before that, so as to not confuse yourself, so this will be our center front for the cup. This is our center front. This is our side front for the cup. So you label it before you cut. So you are going to cut the rest like this. Then you come here too and cut it as well. So let me put it together and you see how it looks like. So if you've never cut a corset before, please, I will advise you to try this first. I know you people are after the design, the pictures I showed you on the corset I make, but please, if you've never cut a corset before, please try out this one first. Practice it so many times on pattern. If you want to cut as well, cut it on satin or cut it on any cheap material. Make sure you practice how to sew it before you try it on a good fabric, on a customer's fabric. It is very, very important. So please, immediately you watch this video, please try it out on pattern. Make sure you try it. If you've never tried a corset before, you don't have an idea, please try this on pattern first. Make sure you are very good on it with pattern before you start cutting it on fabric and start sewing. No matter how good or experienced you are, try making the corset on a pattern. Try dusting it on a pattern first, so you are very good with it before you cut it on fabric, on a very cheap fabric and sew. So now I'm going to be cutting it on fabric and I'm going to be showing you how to sew the corset bodies. So stay tuned.